Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about web applications and things like that. So let me go ahead and remember to unmute everybody. I remembered my banner. Man, I'm on the ball today. And we got, you'll notice we did get the high quality video working as well on Jitsi. Woohoo! Which is good. So we're streaming at let's see, Dan. Yeah, I got everybody at 960 by 720. Except we're running 4K here on Mark. You know, he's just his feed's awesome. But anyway, yeah, we got that. So basically, for anyone running a Jitsi server, and I think I might do a full video on this soon, but how to set up and configure a Jitsi server, you just got to disable simulcast. And I have not been able to figure out anything about what simulcast even does at all, other than they made a big deal about it a couple years ago that we now support simulcast. Apparently, all it does is destroys the quality of video, because I can't figure out what in the world it does. So disabling it, cool, fine, give us high quality video. But anyway, so it's all running well. So absolutely. Jeffrey's on web applications. I'm all for them. Make it so we have to use web applications every single time we need them. That's right. Rather use a client, which is not web-based. When it's necessary, use software like that. Moonbase Self-Grays. Greetings to you, Dan Pete. Hello. You mean web apps like Android phones? No, we're talking about applications. Like, I had to abbreviate web apps, just applications, things. So should we use stuff installed on our computer, or should we do things that always connect with the cloud? Yay.
Boo.
Yeah, if your internet connection fails, you can kiss your web apps goodbye. All right, somebody else talk while I make an announcement that we're actually live on the live chat. So,
you know, for me, it really depends. That I think if the web app is self-hosted, I think it's fine. Like if it's in Nextcloud or Collabora or something like that, I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't like web apps on somebody else's cloud.
Uh-huh. That's the thing. Mark, do you have an opinion?
I tend to side with. I would rather have it native, but I certainly understand the draw and the direction things are going. Everything is in the cloud these days. It's sadly you could fight and fight and fight, and it's futile at this point. I think for privacy and security reasons, it's nicer to have a native application, so not everything, all your data is passing through the cloud. I prefer my data to pass through locally on my local area network or on a single device that I'm using at that time. How as far as the network traffic goes. However, it all comes down to trust. Do I trust this company? What is their privacy policy? And what is their track record? Also, one thing I like to look at is what is their level of security, not just privacy, and have they been hacked in the past? If they're going to harvest my data, I would like at least to have for them to have share minimal data with third parties, other than what is legitimately necessary to do business operations. Because I do understand there are certain cases where you might need to have some of your data shared. But I think ultimately it's better to have it native. But I certainly understand going to the cloud with everything. I get the draw there also, because you can lighten the load on your local system, so you don't have to have quite the hardware specs that you would.
I don't know if I would buy that as an argument, though, because I mean,
with certain
any application that's going to take that much system performance out of your computer is not going to run out of a cloud at all. You know, it's like Photoshop. Yeah, cloud-based version of Photoshop. You have fun with that. Sure, I'm sure if you're on a Gigabit Internet line, that'd be awesome. But yeah.
Well, and it's getting better, because I mean, now gigabit internet is becoming more of a standard in the U.S. It took forever.
Well,
but
I mean,
can get
no,
gigabytes.
I differ
no.
with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna completely
Yeah.
even
Okay.
even if you have a good broadband, it's still not good to try and do Photoshop in the cloud.
Yeah, you don't
I
have really
agree.
good gigabit internet unless you've just got internet in the last 5 to 8 years and it's new line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm
I
lucky.
guess what
They're
you're
not
not
going to
making
turn off the old line so you can have gigabit.
what you're
I'm
not
lucky
paying
enough
in
to have.
hardware is making up for in bandwidth each month, I guess. So it's
Yeah.
kind of an
Yeah, I
offset.
mean, what still the point I'm making is that anything that's going to be that system performance,
Yeah.
to your last point of freeing up local system resources, if you're talking about
Yeah.
freeing up system resources, doing something in the cloud is not really an option. Quint, you had something?
I'm lucky enough to have gigabit internet where I live, and one of the things, this is a little bit off topic, that a lot of the gigabit internet that you see advertised, especially if it's running over cable, it's only a gigabit download. It's not symmetrical. So a lot of, like I know Spectrum Gigabit is a gigabit download, but only 30 megabits upload. And so
That's
most of the
still
cloud
better than 3.
It's most of the
Like
cloud
5 or
stuff,
10,
like
yeah.
cloud Photoshop, for example, uses your upload. And
Mhm.
so that's still going to have a hard time. I'm lucky enough
Yeah.
where I live, where I have fiber. So I have symmetrical gigabit, where I have both a gigabit down and a gigabit up. So it's not, I would be able to use something like that, but I still wouldn't want to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Certain things like one thing you could use that for is something like a QuickBooks alternative would make sense. Certain applications are gonna fare better in the cloud than other things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I'll agree with that point. Absolutely.
Gaming, they're trying to do cloud gaming, and I just feel like that is the only companies that are ever going to be able to do that, and you still have major privacy concerns with these companies are Google, Microsoft, Apple, maybe if Apple
Yeah.
wants to get into the gaming space.
Well, Amazon.
They have the resources, they can do so at any time.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat if they really wanted to. And that's, Apple would be better because they're generally better on privacy, but still, they're not perfect by any means. They collect analytical data unless you turn it off on the iPhone for iOS 14 and above.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw in the chat here that was a really good point is someone said that web apps are great because it allows them to use Linux at work.
Yes, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
So looking at some of the things Mark had brought up, one of the things I was looking at is how do you do accounting software when you are running a business and trying to do it with open source software? And so, of course, on my one web design where I still have Windows stuff going, I have QuickBooks over there, which is not going to last forever, I'm sure. I'm sure eventually they'll kill it or it just won't install on the next version of Windows 10 or something when the Windows 7 computer finally dies. What do? Well, my publishing company is right now is in GNU Cache, but I'm playing around with accounting. This is basically a FOSS alternative to QuickBooks Online. And so I have this actually running on a local server to test it out. So I'm just in the process of putting in data, but I can put in my items. Something GNU Cache for some reason can't allow me to do is add my actual items. But they can give me things like including pictures. So, I have my various products. This product is called a thing. It's a thing for sale. And this one's a book. And the pictures, it's kind of neat. I had neat pictures there too. Thing is actually a picture of the thing, from Addams Family. And so you can actually put in your sale price, your purchase price. So it'll kind of give you what it costs you. You can do your sales down here with invoices and stuff. So you can run this. You can actually get a copy of this for them. From them, you can download the software. It's kind of a freemium. There's some things that even on your self-hosted, you'd still have to pay for if you wanted them. But this is actually running on a internal server to where I'm at. So I can access this from any of my computers but it's not accessible at all from the outside world. So it is going to be very safe to do. I can export the data, back it up, and then if I need to, if some server crashes, I can just reinstall this and drop the data back in. And so it's actually a decent option. So full review is forthcoming, where we're going to look at what all it can do and stuff like that. But so that's one of the applications. So pros and cons of something like that. Mark, I know you do business, so is that something you would be interested in, or is that something that you think would be, too much
I'd
time?
love to get off of QuickBooks because of the data mining and everything that they have historically done through the years.
Yeah,
And
play around with this.
They're a
pretty
very
fun.
large player in the industry, and it also, I like supporting smaller businesses when I can, and I don't mind paying for it. I don't mind for it to be in the cloud, but something like that, that's an open source alternative, would definitely be
Yeah.
a major selling point for me. That would be a big thing. I have looked at other solutions. I found Patriot Software, Patriot Accounting. I really like them. They're a very, very nice, polished alternative to like QuickBooks. And the only reason I still use QuickBooks Online, unfortunately, I'm using the self-employed. It's not the best in the world, but it works. But I can actually sync my invoices and everything for my client work. I can sync my payments directly through Invoice ASAP to QuickBooks, and having that integration makes a lot of sense. So I don't have to manually pull things and stuff and enter it. It just simplifies it.
Absolutely. So looking at just one application just like this, pros and cons, as far as I'm concerned, biggest pros I see on something like this is it's easy to put in one place in my office. It's easy then to take a simple backup, and then any of the computers in my office can access it. So I actually have this pointed on a domain, and then my router actually manages anything internal to my network going to the URL. It just goes to it. Of course, same thing. If I would log into my network from a VPN, it would function the same way. So that's a big pro, is that it can be used on any of the computers. So, if I'm decide it's been a rough day, I'm going to take a laptop downstairs and kick back on the couch and watch a movie or something, I can still do my accounting from downstairs without being on the dedicated computer for it. So there's pros. Of course, the biggest cons I'm seeing to this one, sometimes they may not have the rigorous development. So I'm curious as to if an accountant would like accounting, because it doesn't seem to follow the logical things like, it doesn't drop things into payments receivable, payments expendable, things like that. But we'll see. When I populate fake data and play around with it and look at reports and stuff like that, then I'll get a better idea as to what it looks like and things. So pros and cons. Good.
Quint mentioned that if you can self-host it, I would recommend that you do that and self-host it.
Yeah,
that puts you a little bit more in control.
Now, what's our priority? Do you guys think self-hosting on internal or self-hosting in an external cloud? What do you guys think about that?
I say self-hosting on an external cloud.
Okay. For everything, or just for some things?
It depends on the item. Like, if I feel like I would want to host like that accounting software on a cloud somewhere, so that way I could access it if I was traveling or something.
Yeah, there's actually an app for that. There's an app. They might have it on F-Droid too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But there's an app.
I know the one that I was telling you about before the stream. I don't know if it was like right before the stream started, about Odoo. That one is actually, the way it works is it's a whole series of apps. Like, it's like a whole bunch of apps that integrate with each other that installs on a server. I don't know much about it. I've just heard of it.
It might be the one I looked at and said that might be neat to look at down the road, because like I was thinking, if I need a CRM, Suite CRM is good, but if that will do accounting and CRM and a variety of different things, it might be a good thing to see.
Let me look it up. I'm looking it up right now. But I think
Dan, what are your thoughts on you're going to be our advocate for no cons all the way, right?
Yeah, I have no clouds in my computer, no clouds in my coffee. I'm fine.
Clouds cause rain, and rain is bad for technology.
Well, no, if you have websites that are proprietary to you, you're paying for them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with that because that's the way the internet works.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is taking your data and storing it in some offsite location in somebody else's storage unit. You know, people don't realize, yeah, this sounds like a great idea and things like that. But, companies get really big. There's a lot of fish out there with a lot of money. And if your company gets too big, a bigger fish wants to buy your small fish. And, and then the data is not in the hands that you had trusted it into when you started. And that's a lot of the concerns I have. I mean, just like I had a real incident this week, luckily, I had switched to a private mail server. And I've been working on this over a period of a couple of years. And back in 2012, I'd opened a Yahoo Mail account. And I had used it for a while. It was supposed to be a junk mail account, but I got a few things on it. Well, when I opened up a couple years ago the personal mail account, I had actually decided to stop using the Yahoo one, and I'm like, I thinking to myself, I don't want to just close this account right away. So I sat on it for a year to wait what would come in as mail. So I knew I could divert and go to that particular person I was doing business with and change my email address and not cut my throat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Yahoo sends me this thing this month, and they've been pestering me all month long that they want me to switch over to one of their cell phone apps, Yahoo app for Android or iOS. And then it's got a list of a couple others. And underneath it says other. And I didn't tell just now, click on other.
Mm-hmm.
And under other, it's got a few others. It's got mail via Apple and mail via Microsoft Outlook and Outlook for Mac. And down at the bottom, it has access mail via Thunderbird, which that's what I use. However, it does not have any mail stuff for Evolution or any of the other Linux mail clients. So yesterday I had actually said, this is it. No more mails coming in on Yahoo. They're pestering me to make some changes or do something. So I logged on to my Yahoo account and shut it down.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's an example of something with these cloud things. Not only, you have the risk of getting your data mined, you have the risk or the future pest of dealing with them again to change things.
Yeah, when they want to change everything and turn it out. So, I mean, preview of coming attraction, something that's going to make my article cut for tomorrow in the news. Coming up, guys, you guys who love Minecraft, you're going to have a Microsoft account.
Yeah, they change stuff like that all the time. And it's like with the Yahoo account, it was free. I didn't have to pay for it. I was using it. They decided to pull this little stunt. Who's to say Google's not next to go, pester people about what they can use for a client and what they can't.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a good thing we got off of Google Hangouts.
That is data mining. That is
Yeah.
data mining in itself. You have to log into your account via a device that's tracking you.
Yeah, and that's why Jitsi is such a good option to move to, because I mean it's and this is all hosted. We're on the Jitsi server. We're on Guys. I own it. It's controlled through. We're doing this through a Linode server is what we're running this one on. I have an AWS server as well, but this one's on Linode.
You think I'm a big critic about this? You ought to talk to some senior citizens that are still on flip phones.
Yeah.
Hey, my mother barely has one of those.
Also, Tom, in the chat here, I put a couple things. I put all the apps that Odoo supports. There's a demo for Odoo too, if you want to look at that. And then I forgot to mention this, but I think I could talk a little bit about Mailcal, which is the email suite I use, and that's the link to the demo right there.
Not supported by Yahoo.
That's the Mailcal one. Let me go ahead and copy this. We're gonna see if I can. Okay. Yeah, actually.
The link is demo2.odoo.com is the Odoo demo.
Oh
server.
Man, it is. I got not found. Did you verify it worked?
Yeah, I went to demo to. Hold on, let me try something. I just try demo.odoo.com. Remove the 2.
Okay. That looks like it's doing something at least.
It took a while for it to load, but this
Yeah,
also the demo is
yeah.
the enterprise edition, not the community edition. So I don't think there's much.
You know
of a
what?
difference.
I don't think it's going to work on WaterFox. My
Oh.
computer's just getting so old and out of date that it won't work. Let me
If you want
check
to look
that.
at the top one is just a list of all the apps that it supports, but it's like essentially a centralized place for like business apps.
Okay, let me try that one.
Believe it or not, my WaterFox is still working fine, but I have 2002.
It depends on which one you have, I guess. All right, here is Odoo, so a giant whole management system, website builder. I'll have to play around with this one. That sounds fun. A website builder. Can it build better websites than I can? E-learning, e-commerce, events, blogs, live chat, forums, appointments, CRM, rental, point of sale, sales, subscription, accounting, invoicing. Now, are these like a freemium type where you need to buy some of these, or are these all just
Not
available?
all of the majority of the apps are open source. There's a compare thing where it lists the differences between the community and the enterprise. These are all of the apps. Not all of them are open source, but all the big ones are, like the websites thing, the CRM, like the point of sale one. All the big ones are open source. There's a couple, like I don't think the one manufacturing is open source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is
But like
one. This is one as
all the
it's
ones
relevant
that would-
to our topic. This is one of the ones that you can self-host yourself, or you can use theirs online. So let's pull up their pricing.
And there's a community edition that's free, and then there's an enterprise edition that's a subscription.
So annually, $28 for a single user. Oh wait, hold on. One user. Oh, that's one user per. That's per month. So user discounts for. Okay, so it'd be like $280. Or if you want to buy it monthly, it would end up being like $30 a month.
Let me see if I
And
can.
then you can buy these different items onto it. So that's just users into it. And then there's to do invoicing, you add $15 a month. So it's actually pretty pricey to do.
That's Odoo? Yeah, that's high.
Let me find the thing where there's a page where it compares the free versus the red. Free version still has a lot of stuff in it.
Yep. So here's your community, unlimited functional support, user interface. You don't have mobile on the community version.
Where was that? Is that what you're?
It's Odoo/page/additions. So you have invoicing and payments, but you don't have comprehensive accounting. You have projects and tasks, timesheets. You don't have planning and forecasting. You have CRM, quotes and orders, sales portal, but you're missing. Oh, you don't have your VoIP integration. Sorry, man.
Yeah, if you look, the community edition has a lot of stuff in it still.
Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. Community edition does.
If you go to the bottom of the page, you don't really have to do this right now, but if you go to the bottom of the page, there's a link to the developer documentation, which tells you how to install it. It's actually just a deb package.
Yeah, I saw it. Doesn't look overly complicated, so that's a neat option. Let's go ahead and look at Nextcloud. This is one I use this one. Now, this is one of the ones that I do have on a public server, so you could access it if you know the URL. And I actually use this because for my phone, this is what I use to back up my contacts and stuff like that. So Nextcloud is totally awesome. I know Quint has experience with Nextcloud. Anybody else have an experience with Nextcloud?
A little too pricey for what I charge.
Too pricey. Free
It's
for me,
not
man.
bad. I mean, really.
It's a cloud.
Like 60, 70 something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I self-host it. It's encrypted and completely private. So,
Yeah, it's
obviously the
nice.
people that I rent the server for could, in theory, access stuff. Although I actually
Yeah.
pull data off, it is actually quite encrypted. So you couldn't
I
get in there and just grab a
So
file.
basically, you can just run any application that you need for work all on one platform with the Nextcloud, right? All in kind of one roof.
Yeah,
Most
there's a
any.
lot of functionality built in. So I have like a Google Docs replacement, calendar
Yeah,
syncing, contact syncing,
yeah,
file syncing, all that kind of stuff is set up.
yeah. I mean, it's
um
probably not bad if you're a little more established, like you are, someone. It's probably not that bad price
Hmm.
wise. Really, it's just
It's a tax write
I
off.
yeah. That's true. That's
I
true.
I also use Nextcloud. I don't use the contact and calendar functionality since Mailcal, which I think we'll probably get into sometime soon on this screen, has that built into it. Of course, you had to do that. I use Nextcloud mainly for file sharing. Um, that's the main thing I use it for. Is like if I need to send a document. I also do have Calibora installed, so if I need to open a document, I can do it from there. And I've also been experimenting with a Nextcloud app called Phone Track, which is one of the only which is a device, an app that you can. It's a Nextcloud app and a companion app on F-Droid that you can use to track a mobile device, and it's completely open source. Unfortunately, a lot of the open source device trackers, like there's one called Own Tracks that's really good, but it still requires Google Play services. And so this one Phone Track, Nextcloud Phone Track does not. So I've been playing around with it. It is a little tricky to get set up,
Hmm.
but once you have it set up, it works perfectly.
So you're able to actually track where you are through the maps and stuff.
Yeah, I can set it up on my phone, and then I can look at my Nextcloud on my computer and
Hmm.
see where my phone is.
So when
Yeah.
the NSA hacks into your server where you have it at, then they can get all that data. But
Is
at
there
least they would
something
have to get in. It's not going to be like
Yeah.
the Google employees, like, hey, how do
And
we
I
get
don't
this
know if
data?
the NSA could even get it. My server's hosted in Germany too.
Yeah. Well, I thought Germany was part of Five Eyes, is it not? I know they have
I don't
better
know.
privacy
I
laws,
thought they
but
were outside of the Five Eyes or
they
14.
might be. They might be.
There's like
I
really
use
14.
Hetzner to host my Nextcloud.
Hmm.
They have two locations in Germany and one location in Finland, which are all those are all are all countries that respect your privacy. Like I hear stuff about Germany all the time about they banned like some connected toy, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They're really serious about privacy there, which I think is a really good thing. And plus,
Hmm.
it's really cheap too. I pay like $5 a month for my
Two
big
to know to
2 gigabytes of RAM, a
Yeah.
server with 2 gigabytes of
Hmm.
RAM, and I think a
great.
40 gigabyte hard drive in
Um.
it.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah,
I
I
think I
pay
know
very
where you're
little.
going with Tudiona, and I know you've used it. So tell us about that story.
Well, I was wanting to switch over from Proton Mail to Safe. I was in a place where I needed to cut costs at every corner to be able to stay operational. And to be, I'm just brutally honest. So I switched over from Proton Mail. I really like Proton Mail, and Proton Mail is a really good pricing. I mean, it's worth it to pay for Proton Mail. But Tutanota was offering. I just kind of stumbled across it, just looking for alternatives one day just to see what was out there, and I come across it on a web search. Tutanota is very, very privacy focused. They're out
Hmm.
of Germany. Uh, I pay like a dollar. I think it's like $1.48 for email. I have it connected to my own domain, so it's nice and professional. I have an email at yatesnetworks.com. So I have a couple, and it's. I mean, it's really easy to use interface. It's got enough granular control that you can do a little more with it. That for more professional use if you need to. It has
Hmm.
extra features for the higher plan that you offer. You
Yeah.
can do like Teams if you like. I don't know if there's going to be anybody in chat. They've got like an individual, they got like a business or pro, and then they've got like a Teams account. And I pay 148 for my email, $1.40, and that's taking advantage of the exchange rates with Germany, which is what Quint was mentioning. I think he touched on that, where you pay very, very little because of the U.S. dollar exchange rate to Germany
Yeah,
currency.
I think the Hetzner servers Quint uses, I think they were like €5, something like that. So whatever that would be in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
I
That's
think I pay like $6 a month. I don't remember. I know it's
cheap.
€5.
That's dirt cheap, you know. I mean, by our standards, God, U.S. gets expensive now.
So, Tutanoa recently, they were asked by governments to put backdoors in. They said no, we will not do it.
Said absolutely not. I was going to mention that as I read that a little bit of that story, and I was like, yes, I picked the right email provider.
They said yes, Tech. He's talking about Tutanoa. Yep.
Yeah, Tutanoa. Yeah. And they're just really, really serious about what they do, and they were not going to give data over where they didn't think it was necessary. I doubt they log or keep hardly anything at all. I don't know what they log or what they keep, but probably not a lot of anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an online email server that's not self-hosted like Dan's doing and I'm doing and Quint's doing, I'd say they're probably one of the better ones for that.
Yeah. And Proton Mail is also excellent, not taking anything away from Proton Mail. If you're happy with Proton Mail, I was thrilled with Proton Mail, and I'm even more happy with Tutanoa. So, I mean, I say that, but I mean, I absolutely adore my email service. Love it.
Good. And can you access that on any device, or do you need special devices? I know that was a problem that Proton Mail had for a while.
Yeah, I think... now, the way Tutanoa does their end-to-end encryption is a little different. Make sure when you set it up to store the password, I wanted to cover this. This is important. When you set Tutanoa up to store the encrypted password, have them not clear their browser history. If they clear their cookies or something, that's going to go away. But it has you store a password specifically that you set for the email correspondence you have between you and someone else.
Oh, that would so drive me crazy because I'm constantly
it's a little bit of an annoyance, and you might get some pushback. It's really easy to do. It takes all of 1 to 2 minutes to do. And then once you do, you've got end-to-end encrypted communications throughout your email correspondence to whoever you're talking to. So it's worth it to do it, but keep in mind, if you don't really care about the encryption and you just want to do email with a cheap, respectable company that will treat you well, they are out of Germany, but yeah, you can do that and just flip off the little lock symbol and it'll take away the password requirement. So you can just do like regular email if you don't want to do the end-to-end encryption. But if you do the encrypted emails, you do need to set that password specifically for the correspondence or however you want to do it. You could have one password for a group of correspondence that had the same password if you really kind of wanted to make it a little less ornery to do, but it's not going to be as secure like that. So
I'm just never look at email as something that's secure anyway. You know, I'm just
right. It's not really that big a deal. You've got a track record.
Send me a paper airplane. That's fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to send something that secure, it's not going to be over email. It's going to be an encrypted document.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's shift gears a little bit. I have Bitwarden pulled up. For you guys that don't know Bitwarden, this is an online password management tool.
You can install Tutanoa on Linux and Windows, and I believe Mac as well, if I'm not mistaken.
So you can install your own instance of Bitwarden. However, you do still have to register your server with Bitwarden, which I thought kind of was like, I was going to actually play around with doing an installation, and I kind of said no because I'm not really willing to give them my contact information to self-host my own server. And so that gives me a little bit of concern for Bitwarden. But if you did want an online password management solution, this is probably considered the best one by the privacy advocates because you can self-host it. It is on your own server. I'm never an advocate of that anyway. Of course, Quint uses KeyPass just with Nextcloud.
Yeah,
Dan,
I use
yeah,
KeyPass XC, which is the newer version of KeyPass. I don't
yeah,
think KeyPass is maintained anymore.
yeah, I don't think it
Um,
is.
but what I do is I just use the when you create a database in KeyPass, it exports to a single file. I drop that file, which is completely encrypted with a password, in my Nextcloud, and then all my devices, which have the Nextcloud Sync app installed, can sync passwords.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it say for Bitwarden that you have to register it? I'm not finding that.
I think it's where you need to download. Let's see, get a there's create a free account. No, it's not create a free account.
Here's installing and deploying on premise.
Yeah, install, deploy it on premise. You'll see when you go through those steps, you have to, part of the step is to go in and register your server with them. Let's see. Where's the deploying it on premise?
I see something right here. I see, let's see, I see installation ID and key. And it says, yeah, register your installation. See, where was it? So we and contact email, so we can contact you in case of important security updates. Yeah. Validate licensing of paid features and authenticate to push relay servers for push notifications for Bitwarden client applications.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the part that I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it out with like a proxy or something. Where was that spot again? Like, I can't find it on the website.
If you go to there's a help article that says install on premise. I just search for register and it'll come up.
No, I mean, where's even the install on premise part? I can't even find that right now.
You go to their help center and you can find. I think I got that link from their GitHub, but if you go to their help center, you can just search for install on premise.
I know I've encountered it in the past. I just can't find it now. Backup, installing, and deploying. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's DNS records. You're doing Docker. You don't have to do Docker, but you can. There's DigitalOcean. Yeah, and then you need to get down to that part where you... I don't know. I might...
The thing is, it doesn't force you to do it.
What's that? That's my concern. Yeah. It's like, okay, give me a little pop-up notification and a thing that says there's an update. You know, I'm okay with that.
And also, what I'm asking here is, I can't tell from the installer if it actually forces you.
Yeah, I think it does. Because I don't think it will work without it. I don't know. I'll look into it. I'll look into it. It's something that seems to interest me.
Yeah.
I know. Dan will be all over it, though, right, Dan? You're going to be all over an online password manager.
No way.
That's for me. Like, no, I take the inconvenience putting things in KeyPass. It's stored only on my local server, and I manually distribute it. So, like, once a month, I'll update it, and then I'll just cross-deploy it across the computers again. Tech, you jumped in. How's it going, Tech?
I managed to make it, fam. Good to see you.
Very cool.
All right.
No webcam, I'm afraid, so it'll just have to be the dulcet tones.
That's fine.
That's all right. It's flanked 2 images and two pictures. That's all cool.
Do you want to talk about Mailcal? I can talk about that.
Yeah, let me see if let's see.
That link that I see in the chat there is for the documentation for, like, it shows you like the username and the password for the demo.
Okay. Moohoo.
Yeah.
Was it demo in Moohoo?
Let me look. I actually have it pulled up right here. Yeah, admin is the It's the login is admin and Moohoo.
Admin and Moohoo. See, I remembered the Moohoo. I just didn't remember the admin. All right, so here we're kind of Oh, you guys can't see though. Ha ha ha. There we are. Transfer that over. All right. So here we are logged in. Yeah, we got two-factor authentication methods. So you have
So the
Yubico.
UI is the
Okay.
UI of my stream part isn't catching up here, so I can't look at it on your thing. But the UI of Mailcal is not the best. It's still a little confusing. If you go up to the top, let me see if my stream here hasn't caught up yet. But if you go up to the top, let me just log into my Mailcal instance.
Yeah.
So
Am I above the tabs into the configuration settings?
There's a hold on, let me log into mine here. So there's the configuration where it says you're on the access tab right now. If you go to configuration, you can configure like your ARC, DIM keys, all sorts of stuff in here. There is a quarantine built in for malicious emails.
Ooh.
But then you can go through, there isn't really much in this section. If you go up to the top, you see where it says configuration. It's next to where it says English.
Yeah.
Then if you click on mail setup, this is actually where you can go down and actually configure different emails.
Cool. Nice. How do you check emails on it? Is there a web check or not?
What you do is you see where it says apps on the top. At the top it says apps, and there'll be an
there it is. Yep.
webmail.
Webmail. Okay.
And the webmail interface is called Sogo. It's not part of Mailcal. It's a whole separate project. Was there an email user that was listed on the page?
I don't remember. That's fine. That's good.
But let me see there. Actually, if you go to domain or click on mailboxes back in Mailcal, just go click on the mailboxes tab and then see if there's any emails listed there.
There's Demo, Leon, and Lisa.
If you click on login, and you see where it says action, it says edit, remove, login. If you click on login,
yeah,
it should give you, that should open Mailcal kind of as their user.
Yeah, very cool. Interesting.
But then you can use Sogo to access your mail. You can also you can configure it as there's configuration instructions inside of on the Mailcal documentation website for just like a normal IMAP or POP client. And then you can also use Microsoft Exchange.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you can use Microsoft Exchange too, and on our Microsoft Exchange Active Sync on mobile devices. I don't know if you're back on that page there. My stream on YouTube is a little bit like 10 seconds before.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly where you're at.
Yeah,
I have a delay in mine too.
Yeah, I can't tell exactly how to find stuff on on
be
it, but that's okay. That's fine. We're not doing a comprehensive tutorial on how to use Mailcal.
Yeah.
We're just identifying the things that are out there and available.
There is, once you create a user, you'll have the like if you click on create user, you don't have to do this, but I'm just saying when you create a user on Mailcal, you'll get the option to like set the password and everything, and then
and if you just go into Sogo, you'll have this information. This is just what we don't have in the demo. So yeah, that's a neat option to play around with. It said I usually use my emails through the cPanel configuration, but with cPanel changing all of its prices around, I'm actually playing around with ISP config a little bit more. So I actually have a private internal ISP config now, and I have a public-facing ISP config now that I'm going to be playing with as well. So those are some of the fun things we're doing.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else about it? It does run in Docker, so you have to go through the process of setting up Docker on your server and run it. There actually used to be a non-Docker version, but they got rid of it.
Yeah, I've played with Docker enough to hate it.
I think it's easier for them to maintain. Is probably what it is.
I get it. It's like running a Snap version. It's easy to maintain.
Yeah, and so you just have to go through and install Docker on your server, and then just pull the Docker image. The documentation has all the stuff you need to get set up. It's not really that hard.
Yeah. I think the last one I wanted to look at here before we go is, of course, Google Docs, because we all need to use Google Docs. It's the best and most security and privacy-focused thing in the world. Now, we have to tell a little story that happened before we started the stream. Well, I pulled this up, and you can see here it says create impactful documents, and it says Tom right here. And I'm like, is this a randomly generated name, or did this pull my name from some system because Google is just that creepy? And we've kind of determined that we think it's just randomly pulled the name Tom from somewhere. We don't think it pulled it from my system. But it does have me concerned. So if you guys can all go check a look at this and see if it has your name or if it all says Tom for everybody. That would make me feel a whole lot better to know. But
This was what, docs.google.com?
Yeah, docs.google.com. That's DOX. No. This is google.com/INTL/EN-GB/docs/about because,
I have to use Google Docs and stuff for school. It's not the most. It's okay. It works.
Yeah.
It works pretty well. It's not for privacy. The one thing that does work in Google Docs though is Language Tool. The Language Tool browser extension works with Google Docs, and so you do have a FOSS way to check your spelling and grammar and stuff.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tom for me as well. So
Okay. Good. So
Quit sweating
I'm
there, boy.
possibly safe. All right. I'm just thinking, man, this thing knows. You know what it did? Where's my tinfoil hat? Because it just put Tom up there because I'm talking about it and they just know.
Well, now you know how I
know.
feel when
They
my
know.
little icon that's by my name in the chat winds up on someone's cell phone when I send them a text message.
I
Did you
know.
ever-
Oh man, I'd blow a gasket when I
So-
discovered that.
Did you ever figure out how that worked?
Well,
Yeah, it works with Android phones.
No, I'm asking,
Yeah.
like, how did you figure out why that happened?
I have a hypothesis because that goes to my Google account, which has a Gmail account, which
Yep.
which
has been shared with every cell phone provider in the history of the universe.
Yeah, so when you send someone a text message on their Samsung phone, there's your little round D sitting right next to it in the text message.
I remember when I still used a regular Android, there was an option for something like that where it could like pull contact pictures or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Tech, I know you jumped on late. Do you have any particular web apps you are a huge fan of or anything you totally hate or general pros and cons? And I think we're going to wrap it up with a pro and con from everybody. But if you want to share anything else in the meantime.
Bitwarden is honestly the only web app that I use in my personal life. At work, we have an Office 365 like online deal set up, but in my personal life, Bitwarden's the only one, and that's only because I haven't taken the time to actually set up Bitwarden on my home server yet. But I'm somebody who much prefers native apps, just because I feel like web apps, if you have this. Like if you just have a kind of a drop in your internet service for whatever reason, it becomes very poor very fast. And then there's also the consideration of just everything just dragging or tracking you, that kind of thing. So those are my pros and cons real quick.
Yeah.
I think I just got summoned to the house.
For me, I like, if I can control it and I can put it on my own server, I'm less concerned about it. But still, I try and do local options when I can. Even my Nextcloud server, I don't use it for anything and everything. I use it for very specific purposes, which is good. Yeah. So we're coming up on about an hour or so. So let's go ahead and do our wrap up here. So
I think I'm gonna run, y'all. I just got summoned to another part of the house.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll take that as your final. So have a good one.
Pretty much.
All right. Dan, what are your final pros and cons of web apps?
Well, I don't trust them. Okay. 15 years ago, we were all introduced to the internet and all these cool things, free Gmail and free this. And we in our wildest minds, we didn't imagine the leaks and things that would pop up today. Mm-hmm. I mean, and now all this stuff is coming out and it's too late because we already gave these companies a majority of our important data through free things they've handed out and services they've delivered to us with, alternative motives built into them. So, I'm not going to be somebody that's going to just put myself on a remote server somewhere.
And that's all I need is my refrigerator to have a modem.
Yeah.
And a wireless modem that I can't do anything about. Like,
Right.
we will automatically connect to free Wi-Fis we find nearby. So connect to your secure one.
You know what? I can actually speak about the Samsung refrigerator thing that's connected. Our other house, the previous owners were sheeple, and they put in one of those refrigerators. We do not use it at all. It stays disconnected from the Wi-Fi. And there's like literally nothing you can do on it. Like there's an option if you want to connect it to the internet, you can look at pictures of what's inside your fridge. So when you're at the grocery store, you can go shopping.
So this means that there is a camera perpetually inside your
There
fridge.
is a
syncing,
There's a camera in the inside.
Syncing to somebody else's cloud. And so these guys can be taking this data, and then some health insurance companies can be going, I would like to see what's in these guys' refrigerator as part of figuring out their health insurance plan, all right?
There you go.
And so, let's just see it. So the first thing I'd be doing is putting electrical tape over all the cameras in my refrigerator.
Yeah, the scope of the data all this stuff's going to collect is you can't fathom what it can generate to do to you.
I haven't put any tape on the cameras in the inside, but it stays off the Wi-Fi. We just don't connect it to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that means it's just connecting to the random Wi-Fi from the Google car passing by to harvest everybody's refrigerator contents.
Ooh, that guy's got a nice looking pizza in there.
Mark, what are your...
When we were renovating that house, we put some stuff out, like we built another outdoor kitchen. We thought about getting a new refrigerator, a new dumb refrigerator. Now why do I have to say that? Why do I have to think that refrigerators are smart now? But getting a new dumb refrigerator to put in the inside of the house and throwing that one outside. But I'm
just curious. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That house, you have to get permission from the county to change the door. How did they possibly allow a modern smart refrigerator inside that thing?
Stuff in the inside doesn't matter. It's only stuff in the outside.
And that you can see from the windows in the front. So, in other words, their county assumes people are going to be going up and looking in your windows. That's just frightening.
The stuff in the inside doesn't matter. It's just the stuff on the outside. It's just historic protections for those houses because they're really old. Yeah. What happened is somebody ended up cutting we thought that somebody thought that we tried to change the front door, which we didn't. What happened is a previous owner cut the panels. Like doors have like panels in them. Like how Dan's doors behind him have those panels in them. Somebody cut the panels out and put glass because they wanted more light, and they thought that we did it. So, and we had to tell them, we were like, no, if you look at pictures of the house when it was on the market, the door clearly has glass in it.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that's what it was.
Yeah, crazy. All right, Mark, give us your final pros and cons of web apps.
As much as resistance is futile, I'll fight and I'll go kicking and screaming. On this privacy and security stuff, we can't. The only chance we're going to have any semblance of privacy whatsoever left in the next few years is if you have to say no to some of this stuff. You have to stand your ground, stand your principles, and say no. Utilize the Tom's channel, Tech Lore, and I can't think of all right now. And
the hated one is good. Hated one has a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, the hated one's really good. Wolfgang's all right. He's got one too. I swear I think that's the same kid, but it must not be. It must be two different people. Wolfgang something, privacy and security related stuff. I hope to be starting a channel on that real soon. I think I kind of want to start to do one. I think it would really fit my branding and everything and what I'm trying to do well. I just fight. Don't, as much as I say, screw it, it's resistance is futile. We can't, at times in my own life, I do that, and I'm like, I might as well but you can't. We can't be like that, because if we continue to fight it and stand our ground, the longer we live, we'll have more privacy if we'll just fight it. And they can't. Some of the stuff they're doing is highly illegal. Is it not? I mean, there are laws against this stuff.
Well,
Well-
the DOJ got a hold of Google. They're indicted to be in court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Their
For
thing is over.
Antitrust, all kinds of
mostly for
stuff.
anti-competitive though, not for
Yeah, it's
harvesting
for
data,
search-
which is hilarious because the Google hardware
it's
is
search
the best.
engine stuff.
Yeah, I mean, use a different search engine.
Yeah. I feel like the antitrust stuff also, from a legal perspective, they have no leg to stand on. Like Epic and Apple, where Apple kicked Epic out of the store. You don't want to be here under our terms and our agreements we set forth. When you sign a contract, guys, you sign that contract, you agree to everything to it. If you sign that dotted line, it is on you to meet that agreement.
Mhm.
Or you're going to have to pay, because read your stuff. Read those privacy policies. I've got a few companies I need to go through. I want to look at their privacy policies tonight
Yeah.
and make sure that they're, read what you're signing up for. Don't just click on anything and just agree because, well, if I don't agree, I can't use it. Well, then don't use it. Look for something else.
Yeah, there's always alternatives. There's alternatives for everything out there.
There's
and some
open
of it's
source
just you need
alternatives.
you need to be willing to take a little bit of an inconvenience to stand your ground, draw a line in the sand, and tell a company no further.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you do, there's a lot of power and a lot of it feels really good when you're able to do that. You do it once or twice, it starts to, with anything. You practice doing that, and then, things, if enough people do that, if 10 to 20 more people do that, and you encourage others and you educate others, you can't force it on people, but you can certainly educate them, and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
And those of
But
us in the
many
position
will
that
drink.
teach this stuff, we need to take a stronger stand and say, no, I know I could produce better videos on, Adobe Premiere on Windows.
Right.
I ain't doing it. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. The integrity that I have of saying privacy is where I want to go. I draw the line I draw is the Windows 7 computer I still do development on simply because it hasn't died yet. And I already have a Linux replacement for it when it does die, which is already actually a better computer. I use that maybe about a quarter of the time. It's on that one.
And if you're somebody that don't know...
hold on, Mark. I want to wrap up here. Jeffrey says...
go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah, if a refrigerator was so smart, why doesn't it refill itself? Good point.
I'm not sure if I wanted to do that.
Yeah. Hey, Quentin, has your refrigerator ever refilled itself?
No.
No, it has never refilled itself. All right. And Dan Pete says, my fridge is out of pop. Please refill. So he's telling his refrigerator to go and refill.
I think the refrigerator does have Bixby because there is like a microphone button on it.
It might. Of course, now we're starting to get, Google is starting to do its smart assistants without actually having the wake word in it now. Go figure that one out, everybody. Hey, you don't have the Hey Google wake word anymore. How's that work? Well, it's always just been listening anyway.
Yeah, so... my final words is that I suggest with web apps that I think the good thing about web apps is that they're OS agnostic, which means that if you work at a company or you go to a school or your college or somewhere that uses primarily web apps, you can use whatever operating system you want. Yeah. So that means we can use more Linux. But the downside is that unless the web app is self-hosted, you're giving up a lot of data to these companies.
Yeah, and that's a valid point. We're going to wrap up here shortly. I will not be streaming at 9 o'clock today because there is a double train wreck flying into a dumpster
I need to
fire.
pop my popcorn.
And I'm going to watch it. I want to watch this dumpster fire tonight, so I will not be streaming on my Christian channel tonight. I meant to put something up, and I thought about going on and doing like a reaction response, but I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. So... short notice, but I'm not doing anything on the Christian channel tonight for you guys that do usually follow it. So, but anyway, I think we will go ahead and wrap this one up right at this point, and then we will be back tomorrow for the weekly news roundup. So we will see everybody tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up and actually caring about your security and privacy.